Welcome to Silent Crime Case. Today we are going to delve into a tragic and horrifying case. Social media in itself isn't a bad thing. In fact, many people have risen to fame through platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, building entire careers as influencers. However, the misuse of social media can have devastating effects on people's mental health, relationships, and lives. In today's case, we explore how suspicion turned a famous TikTok star into a killer. But to understand what happened on October 28, 2020, we need to start the story from the very beginning. The beginning. Zane Thompson was a Palestinian-American born on May 11, 1990, in Staten Island, New York. From a young age, Zane had a passion for acting, often mimicking famous actors. His favorite movie was Scarface, and he was particularly drawn to the character Tony Montana, played by Al Pacino. Zane frequently imitated Tony Montana's voice and persona in many of his TikTok videos. His mimicry became a signature part of his content, earning him a significant following. As Zane grew older, his passion for acting only intensified. When his family moved to Virginia during his high school years, he worked even harder on his craft, performing impressions at every school function he could. Despite his love for acting, after graduating high school, Zane chose to join the military, and he was eventually stationed in Okinawa, Japan. Okinawa, a site of historical significance due to the last major battle of World War II, still hosts several American military bases. It was at one of these bases that Zane met a young woman named Emily. Emily's family originally hailed from the Philippines before moving to the United States. Her father was also stationed at the same military base as Zane, which is how they met. Emily had completed her education at the Technological University of the Philippines, where she developed a reputation as a kind and compassionate individual. According to her best friend Lisa Parker, Emily was the most beautiful and kind-hearted girl in the world, always willing to help anyone in need. When Zane first laid eyes on Emily, he was instantly smitten. Their friendship quickly blossomed into a romantic relationship, and within a few months, Zane knew he wanted to spend the rest of his life with her. However, even in the early days of their relationship, troubling signs began to emerge. Once, when Lisa called Emily, Zane answered the phone. He angrily demanded to know why Lisa was calling his girlfriend, accusing her of trying to interfere with their private time together. Lisa was taken aback by Zane's possessiveness, which only grew worse as time went on. Despite the red flags, Emily accepted Zane's marriage proposal after a year of dating, and they soon tied the knot. A few months later, Emily became pregnant, and the couple moved to Virginia, where she gave birth to a baby girl they named Ava. The rise of TikTok fame. Life seemed to be going well for Zane. He had a beautiful wife, a healthy daughter, and a growing family. But Zane's ambitions extended beyond his role as a husband and father. He wanted to be famous on the internet. After Ava's birth, Zane began to focus more on his TikTok account, creating videos that featured his impressions of Tony Montana from Scarface and other skits. His content quickly gained traction, earning him millions of views. People started recognizing him not by his real name but by his TikTok username, Montana Man. Emily also started her own TikTok account, where she posted simple videos of herself dancing, working out, and lip-syncing to popular songs. However, when they collaborated on videos, their views skyrocketed. Zane noticed this and began featuring Emily and their daughter more frequently in his content. This strategy paid off, and his follower count soon surpassed 1 million. With their growing popularity, Zane and Emily decided to move to San Diego in 2021, hoping for better opportunities. Emily was thrilled about the move, as many of her military friends also lived in San Diego. Zane bought a beautiful apartment for their family, and they continued creating TikTok content together and separately. However, it was during this time that Zane's behavior began to change drastically. The change in behavior. Zane, who had once been a loving and supportive husband, became increasingly obsessive and possessive both about his online fame and about Emily. Whenever Emily went out with her friends or attended a party, Zane would bombard her with phone calls. If she didn't answer, he would show up in person, often carrying a gun that Emily later discovered he had started keeping with him. Emily's friends and family began to notice Zane's erratic behavior. He would pick fights over the smallest things and became consumed by jealousy. Zane was convinced that Emily might cheat on him with someone more handsome or wealthier. This jealousy began to strain their marriage. Emily's TikTok account was growing rapidly, and her videos were quick and easy to make. In contrast, Zane's skits required significant time and effort. This disparity fueled his envy. Zane started questioning Emily incessantly, asking things like, "Are you going to parties too often? What do you do at these parties? Do you have a boyfriend?" These interrogations were Zane's attempts to control Emily, and they led to numerous arguments. According to one of Zane's cousins, Emily continued making content because she was securing brand deals and saving the money for their future. Despite her good intentions, Zane remained suspicious and paranoid. The downward spiral. As tensions between Zane and Emily escalated, Zane's behavior became more erratic. He started using drugs and even went live on Instagram while under the influence. Initially, his followers thought it was a joke or part of a skit, but it soon became clear that Zane was struggling with substance abuse. The very next day, Zane went live again to apologize for his behavior, claiming it was the first time he had ever used drugs. However, he quickly began blaming his friends, saying they had pressured him into it. Viewers were skeptical, as no one else had been present during the previous live stream. Zane's mental state continued to deteriorate. He became more active on Instagram, frequently going live while drinking heavily or using drugs. His appearance and behavior began to concern his followers, who noticed that he wasn't taking care of himself. When Zane's family learned of his actions, they cut ties with him. Despite everything, Emily stayed by his side, even as he became increasingly abusive and verbally aggressive. She didn't want her family to fall apart, but Zane's insecurities and paranoia continued to spiral out of control. In October 2021, during a particularly heated argument, Zane's behavior turned violent. He verbally abused Emily and, in a moment of rage, pushed her hard and pointed a gun at both her and their daughter, Ava. Terrified, Emily called the police for help. The divorce and the final days. Following the incident, Emily realized she could no longer stay with Zane. On October 18, 2021, she asked him to leave their home immediately. She then filed for divorce and sought a restraining order, fearing for her safety and that of her daughter. Zane was devastated by the divorce papers. His sense of pride and control was shattered, and he was determined to take revenge. Although he moved out to a hotel, he made a duplicate key to Emily's apartment, giving him access whenever he wanted. He also installed a spy app on his daughter's iPad, which allowed him to monitor Emily's conversations and activities in real time. As Emily tried to move on with her life, she confided in a close friend named Mike Turner. Mike was an old and trusted friend, and Emily felt safe having him around. On October 21, 2021, Emily asked Mike to accompany her home after learning that Zane had broken in and damaged her apartment. She had no idea that this would be the last day of her life. The murders. While at his hotel, Zane activated the spy app and overheard Emily and Mike talking and laughing. Hearing another man's voice with his ex-wife sent Zane into a blind rage. He became convinced that Emily was cheating on him. Security cameras in Emily's apartment building captured Zane running from the elevator to her door, gun in hand. He unlocked the door with the duplicate key and burst into the apartment, where he found Emily and Mike sitting on the couch in the living room. Without a moment's hesitation, Zane shot Mike, killing him instantly. Emily screamed in horror, but before she could react, Zane turned the gun on her and pulled the trigger. In just a few seconds, Zane had taken 2 lives. As the reality of his actions began to sink in, Zane realized the severity of the crime he had just committed. Panic set in, and he began to plot his escape. However, in a twisted attempt to cover his tracks, Zane decided to call the police himself. He told them that he had come to visit his ex-wife and discovered that someone had shot her and her boyfriend. When the police arrived 45 minutes later, Zane stuck to his fabricated story, insisting that he had found the bodies upon entering the apartment. However, Emily's neighbors had heard the commotion and gunshots, leading the police to suspect Zane immediately. Surveillance footage from the building further incriminated him, showing him entering Emily's apartment and leaving soon after. Confronted with the evidence, Zane eventually confessed to the murders. He claimed that he had seen Emily kissing Mike and had acted out of jealousy and rage. Forensic reports, however, disproved his claims, revealing inconsistencies in his story. During the trial, Zane broke down in court, pleading for forgiveness and begging the judge to let him stay with his daughter. His pleas fell on deaf ears, and the judge issued a restraining order to protect Ava. Zane was convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Conclusion. This tragic case underscores the perilous consequences of unchecked emotions and obsessive behavior. Zane Thompson, once a rising social media star, allowed his insecurities and paranoia to destroy his life and the lives of those he claimed to love. His story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of letting envy and control issues spiral out of hand. In the end, Zane's pursuit of fame and control led to his downfall, leaving a trail of devastation. His actions deprived Ava of her parents' love and left a profound impact on everyone involved. For those concerned about Ava's well-being, she initially stayed with Zane's cousin. However, by June 2024, following the conclusion of the trial, custody was awarded to Zane's parents, who are now providing a stable home for her. Thank you for watching. And with that, the case of Zane Thompson and Mike Turner comes to an end.